Hi, welcome to the fourth episode of Red Carpet Productions Spirit Heroes Speaker Series. My name is Nayeli Gallegos, and I am president and co-founder of Red Carpet Productions. We are a brand management agency. We work primarily in the liquor industry. We do events, liquor promotions, and tastings. Spirit Heroes is, first of all, a community of brand ambassadors, and it's also an empowerment platform that we use primarily to highlight the talent and the knowledge base that I have within my brand ambassador team. So today, we are happy to have with us Emily and Sarah, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I have a blog on Instagram, DFW Feed, which is a foodie blog, and then just my regular everyday blog, Sarah Renee Lee. My friend actually introduced me to the brand ambassador world. I did not like my other job, but we had to do what we had to do, and I kept working at it. And she was like, you know what you would be great for? A brand ambassador job. And I was like, what's that? So she started explaining it. And I was like, oh, that sounds too good to be true. So I was a little skeptical, but she said she used to do it, but she had been out of the industry for a while, so there was no connections. So I had to get into the industry on my own. But yeah, that's how I got started.
Okay, well, now it's your turn, Emily. Tell us about yourself and also how you're an entrepreneur right now and how you got into the brand ambassador world.
Yeah. Hi. So my name is Emily C. White. I was kind of like a military brat. So I grew up basically all over the world. I lived in Venezuela. I lived in Egypt. I'm bilingual. Yo hablo español. And so I ended up in Dallas because my stepdad works for Lockheed Martin in Fort Worth. And so I just needed to be in the big city, and Dallas was the nearest biggest city. So I actually started being a brand ambassador while I was living in Fort Worth after college in 2013. And it was also through a friend because I graduated with a degree in theater. And so trying to pursue acting more and getting into film and all those good things, I needed a job that made good money, but also flexible enough that I could make my own schedule and still be able to pursue my passion. I really enjoy the flexibility that comes with being a brand ambassador. I like to engage with people. I'm a very big people person. Now I am trying to make my own stuff, my own brand per se. Right now I'm also making my own candles, but mainly it's the events side of it. So I will go to your house or I'll go to a private event and I'll help you make your own candles. So that's super fun. And in regards to my social media presence, my main account is emily.c.white. And then I also do have a TikTok. It's the same thing, just without the periods. So, yeah.
Well, you're doing a great job, both of you. I really enjoy following you. Our topic today is building community through lifestyle blogging. And as you know, with the pandemic, industry was severely affected, and with it, the liquor promotion industry. So it all started with the cancellation of the big, massive events, followed by the shutdown of bars and restaurants, and then the liquor stores not allowing any tastings. While all of this was happening, promotion agencies like us, we had to pivot our services to other stuff that could minimize the interaction with the customer. So, of course, one of the ways that we could do that was through social media brand ambassadors. So I started paying more attention to what my brand ambassadors were doing, and that's how I discovered that Sarah and Emily have this lifestyle blogs on Instagram. And even before the pandemic, being an influencer was already a thing. Actually, influencer marketing had already become popular, and according to research from Media Kicks, showed that 80% of marketers found influencer marketing to be an effective strategy. So there are many people right now monetizing their blogs and making a lot of money doing so. And so aside from making money, there's many other reasons why some people want to become an influencer, right? Maybe you enjoy the popularity or you just want to have a big community. So in your case, for example, Sarah, what was your motivation and how and when did you get started?
I've always wanted to have some sort of blog or YouTube channel or something like that. I'm not sure, just some kind of creative outlet. And I enjoyed community. But I'm extroverted, but I'm also introverted. So like I can be extroverted when I want to online at the time where I'm comfortable, and then I can just shut it off when I, don't want to, interact with people. So it's a good balance between the two. I started my first YouTube channel when I was about 10 years old. I played the piano, so I started posting videos of myself playing piano. It wasn't until recently, maybe 4 years ago, when I started my lifestyle blog on Instagram. Started off as makeup first, and then I expanded to other beauty products. But it's very difficult to grow in that niche because it's very oversaturated, and so it's kind of discouraging. I got the inspiration because my friends and people online are always telling me that I post the best foods, like the funnest restaurants to go to. So I started doing my food blog for fun, and then that one started growing a lot quicker. I started that page in January, and it's at 2,700 followers now. So that growth is exponentially faster than the other one. But it's also because I learned so many things along the way from my other blog that this one has been able to take off faster.
So what are some of those things that you learned?
So I was kind of curious on why this one was growing so quickly. I went on YouTube and I found a bunch of tips. So I started watching hours and researching what helps you grow. And the main thing was the first step that anyone can do is niching down, answering the why someone should follow you. So with my other blog, I didn't really have a why. It was mostly, if people already knew me or, they like my outfits, but I wasn't too into the fashion world as I thought I was. But with food, I eat every day, obviously. So, and I eat out a lot. But yes, so I niche down to food and the area as well. You can also niche down further for your audience, but with food in general, it kind of applies to everyone. That's one thing I've learned, and just more basic things like stories, utilizing all your platforms, so IGTV, Reels. When it came out, I hopped on it really quick because I knew it was a new platform on Instagram and it wasn't oversaturated yet, and then just using stories. So I learned about the algorithm and how to hop higher on the ladder.
I mean, you basically started taking it more seriously like a business because now you have having a why is basically having a purpose, a plan. And obviously it's working out for you. So that's great. So your main social media platform is Instagram. Do you use other channels for this blog?
Yeah, so on YouTube, I go under Sarah Renee Lee. I would love to produce or make more videos on YouTube, but it's just a lot more time consuming and I'm just not as familiar. TikTok is really easy. It's the same as my Instagram DFW feed because I make a lot of videos already on Instagram. So one of the things I learned from that YouTube channel that talks about how to grow is reutilizing your videos. So it's the same platform where it's like the portrait mode on TikTok. So I just literally just post the exact same video on TikTok.
So I've heard also about reutilizing your content on social media so that you're not constantly creating new stuff. Like once you have something good that people react to, you can reuse it and maybe in a post or a video or a story. So that's great. So what about you, Emily? I would have to say that every time that I look at your posts, you make me smile. Like seriously, you have the best smile. You have like such happy posts. I love it.
First of all, I have to thank my parents for the braces. So that's why I've got this smile going on. But yeah, no, right now I'm really just focusing on the Instagram. I feel like that's where most of the audience is coming through. And then during quarantine, I did try to move over to TikTok. It seems as if the video content is what is going to take over. Instagram tried to take on that idea with Reels. So there's a pattern going on. I mean, clearly YouTube has been around for years. I just feel like YouTube, you have to be a little bit more time invested. But with everything just going on, it's just quicker to either take a picture or take some quick videos and just montage them together and make them into a TikTok or into a Reel on either of those two platforms. As you mentioned, and thank you for the compliment because that validates what I've been doing. I just try to show the fun things of what's going on in Dallas. I think that that's like something that I have in my bio, like finding fun in Dallas. I've also noticed that that is what does best with engagement with the audience, just because people want to find stuff to do. And then one of the main reasons why I really started to focus on the Instagram growth was because I'm on Netflix. Ta-da! I'm on this brand new show on Netflix called Sing On. It's a karaoke style competition singing reality TV show. And I'm on episode 4 on the love songs. So go ahead and go and give that a watch. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the show. You have to go and find out. But I feel like this Sing On show is just something happy and fun to watch on the background, just something to relax your mind of what is happening in the world. And basically that's kind of how I'm trying to approach my social medias as well. It's just something fun, happy, lighthearted, maybe something educational. And that's also maybe something that Sarah and I can both talk about in regards to social media posts, is that in order to create engagement with your audience, you have to give them something meaty, something to grab onto, something to talk about.
I think that creating content that is engaging is the key to maintaining a good following base. And it's actually pretty difficult.
It seems easy. It seems as if it's just like, oh, a pretty picture and you post and you go. And some people call it post and ghost. You can't just post and ghost. That's not the way to run an effective, as you say, business or social media following. Because there's a lot of things that go into it. You actually have to plan out your content. That's one. Plan out your content. Number 2, then start to create in your head ideas as to where you're going to go, what you're going to do, what you're going to say. And that, for me personally, is what takes the longest, is to figure out what you're going to type into the post.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get posts where it's kind of effortless because you're out and about anyways, but sometimes posts can take up to 10 hours by the time you're done with it. So people see this like well-polished photo and in their mind, they're like, oh, wow, that's so cute and things like that. But it's planning, editing, talking to the restaurants or the brands, whoever you're working with, setting up an agreement, going to the restaurant, taking the pictures, going back home, filtering out the photos you took, editing them, writing the people underestimate how long it takes to write up a post to make it valuable. So you can't just be like, oh, here's a picture of my food. Why should they go there? What was good about it? That takes a long time. Tagging just to bump up your stuff on the algorithm, hashtags. It's a lot. So that's why, when you first start, you're doing all of this for free. And if you're not passionate about it, it's not going to last because you're putting in a lot of hours into it.
What are your favorite tools for Instagram?
So when I first started, I used Planoly. It's free. There's a free option, and there's also paid versions as well, which is really great if you're really busy and you make all your content, let's say in a day or two. So you can actually see your layout, and you can do a draft and see what it will look like on your layout to see if it flows. And then you can also pre-plan you can actually have it auto post. I kind of have the layout in my head. I'm able to do it. So it's a good helping tool, and eventually you may not need it unless you like the auto posting feature.
I like to go with what is happening, current events. So I post a little more sporadically. I don't post consistently like every day or something. I'll probably post like maybe once a week. But on my stories, I am consistent.
Do you use a particular tool?
I like to use Facetune.
Thank you for being open with that.
It's a controversial app just because when I first got it, it was promoted by the Kardashians, and it just kind of like tucks you in and whitens your teeth and, but there's other aspects to Facetune that I like. It helps you blur out stuff that you don't want in your picture. Another app that I like to use, it's Snapseed. I think that's what the other one is, Snapseed and Polish.
I do the same. So being open and honest, you can't get perfect lighting everywhere. So sometimes you do go and retouch. Like, for instance, me, this lighting is beautiful and perfect, right? So I looked pretty decent here, but sometimes you go outside and the light hits you all weird. You have weird shadows on your face. And that's what fine tuning is with Facetune. And I do a lot of professional photo shoots, and photographers go in and retouch your photos, and that's how you get that perfect professional look. We're trying to create like as much quality photos as we can. So we're doing the same thing. I think there is a difference between using just a little bit of tweaking and just, changing your face completely. But yeah, other than Facetune, I use Lightroom. That's a professional light editing app.
If we're talking on that PixArt, that's the newest app that everyone is like, most bloggers are using, just because with quarantine, everyone was locked in. So they didn't know what to do. So with PixArt, it kind of has stickers, and you can just like make a whole background, kind of like a mural. So yeah, I forgot
I
to
have seen that.
Now, falling into more serious, the more serious or the not so pretty part of social media and being an influencer. We all have heard about the cancel culture, and being on social media makes you vulnerable. And the more famous you become, the more vulnerable you are to being affected by hate or being a victim of cancel culture. Have you ever had to deal with that? And just in general, how do you deal with being vulnerable?
There wasn't really cancel culture when I first started. I knew you could get hate. Trying to mentally prepare yourself and actually experiencing it is very different. I personally haven't experienced hate on a very high level. For now, I'm mentally preparing myself for that to happen. Now, when it comes to cancel culture, I don't like that at all, because you're taking one aspect of someone's life, and it could also get tweaked and edited. But the cancel culture is to me is really insane, because one person will say something and it's like a bandwagon. Everyone just jumps in. At the end, you just have to be who you are. And as a consumer, try to have an open mind and know that even as much as you think you see into someone's life, it's only a small portion. And I gave a great example to someone, like, you have a friend, and sometimes they say something that if you took the literal words from them, it would be inappropriate. But since you know them and you know what they meant, you kind of like, okay, like, I know what she meant, but she just said it wrong, or he just said it wrong. It's kind of the same thing, but with the internet, people don't really know you as a person. So they take what you say and they don't have the context behind it. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
And I think that, something key is, as a social media consumer, it's very important to not believe everything you see on social media, and have informed opinions, right? So don't always take one side of the story. Like, if you're hearing different things, like, at least make sure that you investigate a little bit to see if your source is real. So what about like the other side? So let's talk about social responsibility as well. So once you start getting some a following base, you have certain responsibility as an influencer, because what you say can have a big impact on the people who follow you. So is that something that you take into consideration when deciding what to post? And do you have a particular mission that you're trying to fulfill with your posts on Instagram?
Okay, just to touch on that last topic, I was actually talking to a friend who has a pretty decent YouTube presence. She has about like 22,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I asked her about like how do you deal with cancel culture and like bad comments, and she told me kill them with kindness, don't clap back. You might get a subscriber that way. And I feel like that is also something that you're going to encounter a lot on the platforms where you can be a little bit more anonymous. So like YouTube, TikTok, you'll find, and this happened to Sarah, that she posted something on TikTok and it went kind of viral, and she got a bunch of like comments that didn't come on her Instagram. On Instagram, I feel like people are more positive. So I don't know. Now, in regards to being mindful of the kind of things that you do post, absolutely, especially right now where everything is just so tense and anything that you post may be misconstrued. So I do have to think twice or 3 times, maybe even 5 times about what I actually post. And because I don't want it to come off insensitive. My permanent posts, I am extremely cautious with what I post, but on my stories, I feel like I can be a little bit more verbal, and be a little bit more, I don't know, loose tongue, basically. And to lastly touch on that topic, at the beginning of this, the George Floyd occurrence and all the protests started to happen in June, I was reached out by someone in Finland, I want to say. I went to high school with this girl, and she sent me a DM saying, "You haven't said anything." And I was like, "Well, because I don't know what to say." And she goes, by you not saying something, you're already saying something, if that makes sense. So your lack of stance on something speaks volumes. And when she put it that way, and then she unfollowed me, I was like, whoa, like, okay, girl. But it took me that like striking, moment of realization to really understand what she was trying to say. And so now I have become more verbal in regards to politics. I still don't like to, I call out BS. That's what I've been doing. And personally, that's my stance. I like to call BS when it comes to politics. But I also do it in a comedic way too. So if you do go on my Instagram, you will see like a character that I built. Her name is MAGA Susan. And she's just this lovable political person that I created, kind of like an SNL kind of skit. So, there are ways for you to have a political stance or like a whatever kind of stance that you want to be. But I like how RGB said it best, and I'm just going to totally butcher it. But she said, if you want to create social change or any change, make it in a way that people are going to want to do it with you. So that's why I created my political character, because she's lovable in a way, but also makes you think about things differently. So again, that's just the entertainer in me that I like to create a character, basically. So hopefully I answered the question.
Yes, you did. And thank you for that. I think as a society, we're all moving towards that, where before it was okay if you just preferred not to share your opinion on certain topics, and now society is demanding you to say something.
Right.
So, and it's about the same, you don't say something, then that means they automatically assume that you are not opposed to whatever is happening, which is not necessarily true, but it's the way it's working out right now.
I agree.
So I have a comment from Joni Renee. You worked with her, and she says, "Hi, ladies, super proud of you. Keep killing it." So thank you for joining us and for your comment. You actually have done some videos together, and those were fun. How did you decide to collaborate?
Sarah, maybe you can take that and I'll start scrolling for our first picture together.
I think I kept seeing Emily's post and I kind of had the same reaction as you know, Yelly. Like every time I see her post, I just feel happy. I'm like, oh my God, like so cheery. And I was like, oh, I want to be around that vibe. It is time consuming, but you want to have fun with it. So we help each other to make content and we have fun at the same time.
So I found the picture. So this is baby Sarah. Whoop, ring light. Baby Sarah in 2017. And that's when we first met. We were doing Clearly New Amsterdam vodka. And then that's me in my little like cat ears because it was Halloween. It was, I think, October 28th, if this is correct. And then our first selfie is not the most glamorous, but
oh my God. Oh yeah, I'm all the way in the back.
Yeah, you're all the way in the back. I can't, like, I'm trying to get the glare out.
And that's like when Mitch was still around.
Yeah. So it was during a red carpet event. So yeah, thanks for bringing us together.
Yay! So that's one of the cool things about being a brand ambassador. You get to meet people, you get to work with people, and sometimes they become friends and even collaborators in the future. I always like to finish our conversations with a message from you on what you think is the greatest value of brand ambassadors to brands. And let's start with Sarah.
So one of the greatest value is your audience. You've built a community with them. So when brands do commercials on TV, it doesn't feel as personalized. It is effective, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't do it. But with Instagram, with your audience, they trust you. And it takes a lot of time and effort to have an audience trust you. I think that's why a lot of brands are seeing a lot of great outcomes. And with brand ambassadors, the influencer will try it out, and if they enjoy and they feel like it's good enough to give to their audience, I think that's why it's the most effective. It's almost like your friend suggesting or like, hey, you should try this. I really enjoyed it.
So I think the positives of being a brand ambassador is that you learn how to be a good storyteller. I think that most sales right now, I've heard and have experienced, they want to be told about the brand. They want to be told about the experience. Consumers right now are very smart because they have this and they can just fact check and do a lot of research. So you just want to entice them with telling them a story. And again, and I keep saying this all the time, I'm an entertainer. So storytelling just comes naturally to me. And so that's what I really like to focus on when it comes to sales, when it comes to my posting, when it comes to just like all the other things, is just to be able to engage someone with the story that I'm telling. And I think that it just ties really well in with the brand ambassador concept.
I just want to say that I believe the best brand ambassadors that we have are the best storytellers, the ones who engage with the consumer. They're not just waiting for somebody to like ask you for what you're offering, what samples you have. If you're able to communicate the story behind the brand, that is like the perfect scenario for a brand that is hiring an agency to have brand ambassadors represent them. So thank you ladies for your input and for your time, for sharing your experiences with us. It is very, very important for me to show that there's a lot of talent within my team and that there's a great knowledge base within my brand ambassador group. So thank you for being a brand ambassador with Red Carpet Productions. Thank you for the many years you've worked with our agency, and we know there's a lot of choices, and you've been there from the beginning. Even if right now your career paths are taking you in different directions, you've always are going to be part of the team, and the doors are always open to good brand ambassadors for whenever you want to come back and do more tastings. So I really appreciate you, and I want you to know that. And for anybody else listening, if you are one of our brand ambassadors and you feel passionate about a topic and you want to share something, maybe one of your areas of expertise, please reach out to me. I want to hear from you. As a reminder, I want this to be a platform for brand ambassador empowerment. And the more I am able to share your stories, the more success I'm going to be having with this platform. So again, thank you, Emily, and thank you, Sarah, for being here, and thank you for whoever's listening. And I will be sharing this on our social media platforms too, so you'll be able to share it with your on your own platforms as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.